Righty. And welcome, fellas. How are you? Welcome to Bands, Brews, and BS. I'm here with Abandon.
Yeah, what's up?
How's it going, guys? Thank you for coming, hanging out. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. I'm really digging the album you guys had come out and the new cover song that you just did. I just want to hear more about With Abandon. We have Action League Matt in the chat.
Yeah, you do. That's me.
Oh, perfect.
Wait, is this on? We're on Twitch, right?
Yes, sir. There is a live chat, so there's a lot of people that pop in and out throughout it, so it'll be pretty fun. Thank you, boss, for the follow. So, let's go, fellas. What's going on? How is everything? What's new? What's going on in your neck of the woods? Come on, fucking fill me in.
What's new?
What
the fuck was that?
Nice.
That's a new track we're working on.
That was great. We got Crumb to Mama in the chat, says, "Hey everybody." So there are people popping in. We want to know what's up, man. What's going on?
Nothing. So yeah, we're just we're palling around here. We got some of those vaccine jobs, so we can like sit around and pal around, and that's like kind of cool, right?
Yeah, man.
We
Yeah.
haven't been able to pal around in quite a while. It's been pretty challenging. So
We're about to start practicing together again.
yeah, yeah, we have not done that in. What was our last practice? What's the date?
It was
last March, right? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was last March. Yeah.
Yeah, we have not all been in the same room for an entire year, which is pretty nuts. But I mean, we just like stopped practicing like right away, like all of a sudden. So as soon as everything hit, we were just like, all right, we're staying at home, unfortunately, and we're just going to do this, virtually in the best way we can.
This is like how we've been doing it.
Yeah.
Have you guys been writing parts separately and then piecing them all together?
It's been a whole mix of, I would say, writing stuff separately, and then we've had, virtual band practices where we'll all get on like the same Zoom call. We've hooked up like, the electronic drum kit and like Pro Tools running through Zoom and stuff like that. And we all have Pro Tools in the cloud. So we can upload our own parts, at home and play them, and they go like to Pro Tools in real time. We can hear them play back and stuff, but it's not quite the same as actually practicing together in the same room. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So-
totally. The feel, and if someone comes up with improv while you're doing it, and then someone likes it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
So,
the biggest thing, because the collaboration part of it is like huge. I mean, most of our songs are a mix of people writing things and getting together.
Yeah, we have a ton of members too, so there's a lot of people involved. It's not. Yeah, it's been challenging.
Yes.
But we don't have to worry about that anymore. I mean, we're gonna be back together soon, so that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward
Yeah,
to
this week is our first real, back to normal in-person practice. So we're super pumped about it.
Yeah.
you got like the nervous jitters because you're excited to get back together. Like it's like fucking back to school, first day of elementary school.
Yeah. So like everyone typically comes to my place for practice. By the way, we should probably do some intros, but I'm Kevin. I'm the drummer for the
There we
band.
go. Yeah. So this is Kevin.
Yeah, I'm the drummer. Hello, everyone. I'll let Bubba, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I'm Matt. I play guitar / bass / whatever my twin tells me to do, because I'm basically a robot for him. So.
All right, we'll go to the other twin. How about you, Alex?
I'm Hare. So
He plays the guitar.
I do play the guitar.
I'm Patrick. I play the guitar.
And then we have
I
Jay,
play guitar.
of course. Is Jay
I
there?
think Jay is literally on his way. So
Okay.
we'll see when he gets here. Then obviously there's Frank as well, our bass player. I haven't seen Frank in over a year. It's been quite.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he still alive?
He's been missing.
We need to do a wellness check on Frank. We should probably call him right now and see where he's at.
But yeah, I before we did the intros, I was about to say that we it's going to be super weird having all of us in the same room together since everyone's been vaccinated. But we usually have dinner before we practice at like 6 o'clock or so. We just usually eat something and then we get into it. But It's going to be really weird, like doing that again a whole year later. And, we're going to be sitting at the same table. It's just going to be like kind of bizarre, like surreal, actually.
It'll be really nice because then you can almost have like amnesia and pretend the last fucking year didn't exist. Be like, oh no, it's just like a time loop. We're back to where we were before. It's okay.
No. If we pretend the last year didn't exist, I have to remember all my guitar parts still, and that's not going to happen. So I need that excuse. So don't give them that in their head. Oh, that year didn't happen. No, it happened. I don't remember anything, and that's why.
A lot happened. It's hard to remember every little thing, but yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna remember anything. We play a ton of different tunings, and I don't remember half the songs or what. Like, where's the capo go? Oh, wow, this is gonna be, yeah. That's what I'm seeing. This is what we're saying, Joe. It's like our band's, I think, different from a lot because we don't play out a lot since we're a little older. So mainly, when we get together, our main focus is just let's write a cool song by any means necessary. So we have songs where we'll have 3 guitars, and literally we're all in 3 different tunings, or one has a capo somewhere and the other one doesn't. And I mean, it's remembering all of that, like after a whole year off, is,
I do have to say though, because this last year, for all of the like downsides, obviously, have kind of like refreshed us with that stuff and been like, if we play out every once in a while, that's awesome. But like our focus is writing, so who cares about like how can we do this live? I don't feel like I really care about that anymore. Like, there might just be some songs that it's like, write the best song you can possibly do, and don't worry about how we're going to play it live.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I don't know, to me, it's kind of like,
it's free, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page that we are really into, writing as much as possible, like writing as many originals as possible. And if we can, just stay focused on the writing, I think the shows are always going to become like a secondary thing for us. Obviously, if we can play some shows and we can get out there and obviously have our fans listen to the music, that would be amazing. We've only played, we've only played the one show, right? We played our album release. And then that was it. The pandemic happened the next month. so if we can, the shows are like kind of secondary, but we, there's as much music as we can put out, the most writing we can do, the best, quality music that we put out. I mean, that's really what we're focused on, I think, right now. But yeah.
That's pretty rad. I dig that. So now the writing music, where does this music come from? What are some of your past bands that maybe you played in, or were any of you just musicians in general and never played in a local scene? So what I try to do is go back to the beginning and find out how you guys all came to be. What type of bands did you play in prior to with a
polka?
I was out in California in the 60s with Bob Dylan.
Our band is definitely a hodgepodge of, we've all played in other bands together at some point. The only person in this band that has not played in another band with somebody else is Pat and Jay, right?
Okay.
I don't know, Pat, if you ever played with Alex before with this band, but so that's kind of the thing where most of us have played together in another band at some point in time. So we kind of have a good idea of like what our strengths and weaknesses are as band members and what we like and what we don't like and how we work together songwriting wise, playing shows and things like that, which is nice. So I know, I'll just do my own personal thing first, because I'm probably the latest one. I didn't start playing guitar until I was almost 20 years old.
Okay.
So, and by 22, I was in a band and we were touring almost full time at that point. So I played in a band back in the day on Lobster Records called Rose Matter that my brother joined later after the fact. And that was most of my musical. I played in that band for about a decade. And after that, the only band I played in Carousel Kings. I was a bass player in Carousel Kings for a little while.
Okay.
And then I played in with the band, and I play in another band also now called For the River. So.
All right. So where does your musical influence come from? You picked up a
a
guitar at like almost 20 years old or at 20 years old, but why did you pick up a guitar? Like who were you listening?
That's a great question. So I don't know if obviously, so my brother and I are twins, and I can't let him be better than me at anything in life. All right, listen, I may have come out second, but I'm finishing first. All right, and I can't let him be better than me. So he's playing guitar before me. I was like, you know what? I got to show this motherfucker up. All right, I ain't gonna be outdone. Spoiler alert: I'm not as good as him. So fuck. That's other than spite is my main influence. I would say spite and competition. I also like SoCal State Skate Punk. No Effects, No Use for Name My Wagon. Those are the bands I was probably influenced by. When I was getting started playing guitar the most.
All right.
And I'm still a lot into the old school pop punk rock, and like the old school, like the Midwest emo scene. Get Up Kids, Sunday Real Estate, Texas is the Reason, stuff like that. So I listen to a lot of new bands too, but I wouldn't say they influence me anymore. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Like, so what are some of those new bands?
Oh man, there are so many good new bands out there. I'll tell you who just dropped an album. I think it was yesterday. It's Origami Angel. They just dropped a new record. I love that band. But listen to the shit out of them.
Rules.
Yeah, Spanish love songs. I'm real big into that band. Dollar Signs. I'm real big into. Just some great. I love a lot of those new bands coming out now. I think there's always new good music coming out, and I'm always trying to listen to it. So
Pretty rad. So who's up next? Who wants to talk? Come on.
Tell them about your first band.
My first band,
Yeah.
like my joke band in high school.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you know about that?
I don't know. We're gonna find out if I do right now.
Oh God. All right. I grew up in North Jersey, and I started playing guitar when I started playing bass at first. Then I started playing guitar because I was like, bass is lame.
fuck you.
Jeez. Fuck. Wowie wah wah.
At first I was into, what I was into at first was Nirvana. I was one of those people. I was like absolutely in love with Nirvana. The biggest influence I think on me in my entire musical life is probably In Utero, because it got heavier, and that to me was like mind blowing. I was like blown away by that album. So I got into kind of like weird stuff after that, like 90s stuff like Sonic Youth and Fugazi. Some punk too. Like I love Lagwagon actually. And then definitely like the emo, late 90s emo, early 2000s, same thing Bobo was talking about, Get Up Kids, Jimmy Eat World, Saves the Day, Penfold. I love Penfold, like just pretty guitar stuff. Appleseed Cast, stuff like that. And then I started playing a real band. I did have some joke bands in high school that were like so fun and just totally stupid. It was kind of like, oh, we could write real songs, or like we could just like write stupid lyrics about like fish having legs and like stuff like that. So I spent a lot of time doing that instead of trying to actually write real music. But then I was in a band called Co-Walker in like mid 2000s, and that's how we know each other. Because we played shows together when we were in Dear Stardom. Yeah. And fortunately, in 2015, Alex was coming back to the East Coast from California, moving back. Mm-hmm. And I was just like thinking about, I had not played with other people in almost 10 years. I did the whole thing where my band broke up and I was like, I'll take a little time off. I'll like, I don't know, and then like 8 years goes by and I started like really getting the itch again. It was like, what the fuck am I doing? I got to play music. Yeah. And then he reached out and we got together. We went over to Kevin's and we just started working on this song that I seriously had, this riff I had going for 10 years. The previous band I was in 2006, there's like a rough version of that song, which is the last song on the With Abandon record. And so I've been like seriously playing the same dumb riff for 10 years. And fortunately we got together and started writing music, and it's been super fun. Yeah, it's been rad.
That's pretty fucking rad.
I want the Dylan James piece.
Text her, tell her.
I gotta do my pizza order.
My wife is getting us pizza. I can't complain. It's been pretty nice. It's been a busy day, and then we have to work all night. So, well, this is how it's been going now with recording. This is a little off topic, but interesting is that we've been recording piece by piece. Like we got together and did guitars 3 months ago or something. Yeah. For 2 songs, we're trying to do things piece by piece. Like not do a whole record necessarily because it's like it's not realistic right now. But so Jay, our singer, who was in Just Surrender, is coming over later to do vocals for these songs that are almost done. Yeah, they'll be done. Yeah, vocals we just got to play some touch-up work, but So that's kind of been our perspective too, which has changed during COVID, which is like, let's just like do what we can do. Let's put a couple songs out at a time, and I don't know.
less pressure, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. We don't need to do a whole 12 songs or anything like that at a time.
That's been kind of the theme with everyone that I've interviewed so far. So far, like the band Driveways that I interviewed on the first episode, they're doing, EP, coming out with a couple songs. And then, you got Narrowcast, who's absolutely phenomenal. If you've ever heard of the band Transit, it's Joe Boyton from Transit, and Matt Morin from Aviator, who is a really popular melodic hardcore band. I had Inspiridon, which, if you ever heard of the metalcore band Vanna, is the new version of Vanna. They're out and they're fucking killing it right now. So it's really cool to see people starting to make these, I would say, super groups of putting people together. And I know you laugh about that, but it is true.
It's cool though.
As you get older, you start to realize that more and more people have this same feeling of I'm fucking missing out on playing music. I have it right now because my wife pretty much doesn't roll her eyes because she's cool about it, but every time I'm out, I've been lately stopping at a fucking guitar store. I had a guitar in years. I stopped playing for the longest time solely because I have a really busy job and like everything else going on. So like, I mean, music should always have a part. So this, it's like your therapy, but like I kind of let it slip by the wayside. And now I'm like fucking fiending all the time, wanting to do some sort of musical project. So let me hear some more about the rest of you. Come on.
So I was born first, and contrary to
You're gonna finish second, though. You will finish in second place. I guarantee it.
Ooh,
Write that down.
There's no way. It's clear I'm the number one
Oh,
son.
the dogs are running around now. I got them all excited. I got too animated. I apologize.
thought it was a fucking mini pony at first.
Oh, I have 4 Great Danes.
Oh, okay. So you pretty
Yeah.
much have the Clydesdales from Budweiser.
Yeah, I in addition to being a terrible musician, I also breed and show Great Danes. So
You see my point? He's clearly the second son. Clearly, you're number two.
here, Lar.
Tough to have a number one when you're both such huge losers.
At least
okay.
they're ball busting amongst the group. It shows
Oh,
off.
that's all we do. There's nothing else.
Yeah, this
We
is
write music and we bust balls, and that's how we get by as a band. Right?
Yeah,
His
this
head is
pretty
so
much
much
it.
bigger.
You gotta have
We're not
fun.
saying each other
This is
all the
Glitch.
time.
Glitch's
We don't-
head is
we
so
don't
much
talk
bigger
about
than
Glitch.
yours.
Hi, sweetheart.
He wants
Hi.
to be
Okay.
curious.
I know.
Yeah, I really don't actually.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's enough about me. Let's talk about Kevin now.
All right, where to start? So yeah, I've been playing drums for probably like 20, 25 years, I want to say, around there. I'm not too sure how many years, but I've been in a lot of bands over the years. My first band in high school was a band called 5 Days Ahead. And we were like a pop punk, rock band. And actually, I should rewind. My very, very first band was a band called Smash Atoms, and it was a band with Kenny Vasoli from the Starting Line.
Really?
Yeah, he was my bass player. When I was in middle school into high school, he was like the the songwriter in the band. So it was myself, it was him, and we had a guy named Chris who played guitar. So it was just the 3-piece. We were called Smash Atoms. And then it was sort of like around like 2-year mark, I want to say, when the band sort of fizzled out. That was because Ken was actually recruited by the Starting Line, which is at the time they were called Sunday Drive.
Okay.
So if anyone's familiar with that story, that's kind of what happened there. They recruited him. I think it was on an AOL Instant Messenger thing where they found his AOL profile, messaged him, kind of tried out, and then he joined that band. Smash Atoms eventually fizzled, but that was like my very first band, and it was really cool because I was able to like watch Ken over the years kind of take off and like see like a lot of success from all of his music. So from there, I went into 5 Days Ahead, and we were like an alternative pop punk band. We were together for like 2 years or so. We played a lot of shows all along the Northeast part of the country. And then that band fizzled. We went into a band called Overeyes. That was like I want to say it was like a pop alternative rock band, pretty much. Super catchy songs, great guys at the time. And, we really had fun playing together. And then that was like in college. It was like 2002-ish, 2003. And then Alex, of course, I went to college with him, and that's where we met. And then I joined Dear Stardom, and that band was my band. Like, you know, after like the after part of my college career, like in the middle to the end of my college career. And we were how long were we together? Like 2 years, Alex? 2.5, something like that.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it's hard because I've known you now for like.
I know.
I mean, I've known you for like 18, 17 years now. So it's like, I don't know, like 2000s. Something in 2006 or 2012. What's the difference?
Yeah, but we were active for probably 2 years, and then you know, we did a tour. We went down to Florida and back. Once we graduated from college, we had some free time. We were able to just get on the road and like do that for like little less than a month. That was great. That was a great time. And then I don't know, Alex and I, we've always like been in touch. We've been friends over the years, and we just kind of like have been playing here and there as we are together, like whenever we can get together. And then I feel like, I was in a few other bands. I was in a band called The Violet Tone. I didn't do any recordings with them, but there is an album on Spotify. Really great friends as well. I was in that band for like 1.5 years, I want to say. And then, I feel like there's a lot, maybe a few I'm missing, but these are the ones that I'm thinking about right now. And then, we kind of got together at Dear Stardom, you know, in the past, or not Dear Stardom, with a band, with a band in like probably 4 or 5 years ago. And we just have been playing behind the scenes, under the radar, writing as many originals as possible. And then we kind of like built the band over the years. We really just, like pieced the members together, and then wrote songs like in the interim while we were waiting for the next member to join. And it was really quite an experience, like kind of piecing the band together and writing at the same time. And eventually when we found Jay, he did a great job with like coming in and like having this collection of material that we had previously wrote. And he was able to really work with them to like write his pieces, like his lyrics and vocals and melodies to all of our, some of our previously written material. So, but that's kind of like my history there a bit. I'm really into bands like Jimmy Eat World. I'm more on the like pop rock emo kind of spectrum. So a lot of bands in that kind of genre or genres I typically fall to. I'm much more pop centric than Alex or
Evan doesn't like metal. He's a sissy.
I think Bobo and I have a little bit more pop sense. Like we enjoy those like poppier songs.
Don't try to bring me into your explanations of music. I don't want any part of this situation now. All right, you're on your own on this one.
Evan's not really a sissy. I'm just joshing. We give each other a hard time.
We're not talking like pop rock, like fucking Nickelback, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, we're cool.
No, just like catchy songs that are more mainstream. Like,
okay.
Like you're like Death Cab for Cutie, you're into those guys, Postal Service, stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like mainstream indie stuff that's a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's stuff that I would consider like scene adjacent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense.
There's like scene bands, and then there's like the bands that like Jimmy Eat World is like a good example. They were a scene band 20-some years ago, and now they're like just a big, good band. They're right. Yeah. It's like next door, right?
Yeah.
Same with like what's that guy, Jack's Mannequin? Like Something Corporate was definitely a scene band. And now like it's scene adjacent.
I get you.
Yeah,
No. That's a cool way of putting it. I never
over there, that's Nickelback. That's way too
Yeah. No fucking way.
Like just some example bands. Like I'm really into the Maine lately.
That's a great example too. Yep.
Yeah, the Maine. Yep. I just discovered a new band that I've been like playing a lot. They're from Canada. They're called Dad Sports. They're like
fucking good.
They write. I don't know if they have an actual drummer or if they write all their drums on like a drum machine, but I just got into them from a Spotify playlist like for the first time. I was like, wow, this is actually pretty catchy, but it's like very catchy. So I don't know if everyone would like it, but it's, they have some interesting YouTube videos. So you got to check them out. Another band called Future Teens. They're pretty good. They're like,
Future Teens rules.
Yeah. Future Teens is great.
Yeah. So there's just a couple things, and of course, like I'm gonna drop a mainstream one, like Taylor Swift. I mean, some of her stuff is
why do you have to do that?
well, you know what? It's okay. Because any touch tunes that's in a restaurant, I constantly put fucking Taylor Swift on. Usually some DMX too, if it's got the explicit version, just to make people uncomfortable at the restaurant. You know, just
Those two things go together.
But the point, I'm making a point that we all have like very different, very unique likings in music, and I think that kind of like gives us an edge with some of our writing process because we all think about different structures, different styles, different ways to approach different parts of different songs. So I think when we get together and we actually write collectively, it kind of gels together in like a pretty cool way.
Awesome. So Alex, you don't get a jail free card, bud.
Oh well, okay. No, we can. Yeah. So I mean, I've been playing music for quite a long time. Like I joined my first band in high school. I actually did my first tour while I was still in high school. And then but I mean, I've just played in a ton of bands. I like to think that I am the architect of everyone else knowing who they are in the band. Because I like Kevin and I were like always like a package deal. And then of course I was like, oh well, we're gonna be playing, like we're gonna probably need a bass player. I'll call my brother, right? That's what we originally did. And I was like, oh, I got this guy. I just saw him at my friend's wedding. That's actually where I ran into him at our friend's wedding. And I was like, he lives in Philly. He plays guitar. Like he's cool, right? We'll just give him a call. Like it wasn't like it's kind of like almost how Dave Grohl describes like the Foo Fighters getting together. Like, they didn't audition those guys. Like the four of them were in the bass and playing songs, and he was just like, "Yeah, this is cool." So now we're a band.
We're a lot like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I just called Pat and I was like, "Dude, I don't even like you're just gonna play guitar. Like, there's no audition. There's no, you know what I mean? It was just like, I already know Pat. I know we can play guitar. Like so." Other than that, I was like, "Yeah, and he listens to cool music. We'll figure the rest out as we go."
Yeah, we went to Ortlieb's in Philly.
Yeah.
And just talk about music. Yeah, for like 2 hours or whatever. Then we went over to Kevin's and played, and we're like, yeah, this is good. This is working.
So Joe, I don't know how old you are. I don't want to blow up your spot, but we're a little older here. So
I'm 33.
What?
I'm 33.
All right, yeah. So I'm 38.
Okay,
so I can
not that
tell
much
you
older.
the best example I think of who I am is like far as like my musical upbringing with like the scene is I went to go see back in the day. There was a radio station, 991 WHFS, and they used to have 99-cent shows at the 930 Club in Washington D.C. So you had because back in the day it's like 1999 I think it was.
That's crazy.
And you had to I'm trying to have been in junior high school. So you had to call the radio station to get your tickets, right? That's how this worked. It was the whole big, thing. So somehow we called and we got tickets to go see Newfound Glory
in 1999.
In 1999, they were on their Nothing Gold Can Stay tour. I forget who the other band was, but actually I went before that. Either way, as I was walking out of that show, I may have the show wrong, but it was in high school. I was walking out of the show. And some guy, back in the day, you go to the shows, people hand out the CDs, the flyers.
Hand out the flyers and the CDs. Right? Yeah, it's self-promotion, man.
So I'm walking out the 930 Club, and there's everyone handing out their fucking shit. And I'm like, I'm from DC. I'm not from DC. I'm not going to go to your show. But someone hands me the CD, and they're like, here, check it out. It's a new band. It's like a sampler. I remember flipping it. I'll never forget this. Like, I remember it's cold as shit outside. Like, my face is freezing. And I flip it over, and it's just that copy of Fairweather's If They Move, Kill Them. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. Fairweather. And I remember getting in my car, and I put in that fucking CD, and it changed my life forever. Like, it was that first Fairweather record. That was such a drive. And three bands I think that just described how they're in that movie to me, and that was the first one where I was like, oh shit, I've never fucking heard something like this. Like, this is, I want to do that. I want to be that, And I was like, well, how do I do that? I don't know. So I started to try and figure it out, right? And then the second time that happened was when I first listened to the Get Up Kids, when On a Wire came out in 2001. That record came, or 2002. That record came out, and I was like, oh my God, I want to play songs like this. Like, that was pretty cool. And then that pretty much took me all up through my 20s and in my early 30s. And then I heard of a man. I went to go see, do you know the band Braid?
Yes.
I went to go see the band Braid at Union Transfer in Philadelphia. And the opener was this guy named Owen, Mike Kinsella for American football. And dude, I just remember standing there, just watching this guy. And I was like, I I don't. I'm gonna do this now. Like I have no choice, right? Like this guy he has my soul. Like this is everything I've ever wanted to like do in life on guitar and singing. He's the guy.
He's a fucking mad genius.
Yeah, he's just it was fantastic. It was life changing. And then that brings me to where I am now. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty rad. Now you had busted balls about metal. What kind of metal do you like?
I like metal. When I was how old was I when I got that cassette? We got it. My Nana took me down to that store, and that was back in the day with the parental advisory sticker. You had to have like a parent, and we had a cool grandma who would like. I mean,
she'd buy us anything. She didn't care.
She'd buy it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So she bought me Anthrax Sound of White Noise, and
nice.
Yeah, right. I mean, it must have been like 7.
Fuck.
Oh, we were really young. Way too young to listen to Anthrax and have your life go smoothly afterwards.
Dude, MTV, that's amazing.
And I guess MTV did some pretty rad shit back in the 90s.
Yeah. And then, so that's pretty much, I was into them. I really like Megadeth. Nowadays, I really like, I love Every Time I Die. They're a top 5 band for me. I mean, those guys are just, Keith Buckley just screams his goddamn brains out. Like it's amazing. They're just super talented. Really love that. I love that. I really think that a lot of the more, I don't want to say like everyone who's in metal is talented, but I think the bar is a little higher for like musicianship, and I don't know. I appreciate that. Like a lot of those guys are like out there to like try and push. It's the same reason Eddie Van Halen played guitar. Like they're trying to push what's possible, like on guitar. Like I don't know. Even though I'm not nearly good enough to even play like one crappy metal solo, let alone like be in between Buried and Me, like I appreciate that.
Oh, you and me both, man. And I always feel like the best bands are the bands that really push each other to be better. And you can see the change in, let's say, the drummer or the bassist or the guitarist, where one album the bassist is playing root notes, and then the next album they're starting to play lines and they're starting to play walks, and you're like, oh, this motherfucker totally stepped his game up for the next album. You know what I mean? Or even like the guitarist all of a sudden is playing, the rhythm player's now playing a lot more leads, or they're doing more harmony leads. You know what I mean? So like, it's really cool to see people push each other, because I've watched a lot of guitarists go from being pretty good to being like, oh, fuck, I hope they don't leave the band, because now they're writing most of the music over the other person, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So who are some like famous influences amongst you guys that are not the norm? So like when I interviewed Narrowcast's Matt Morin, he brought up Phil Collins as being a huge fucking influence for him. And it's really cool because I think Phil Collins is a goddamn genius.
I love Phil.
Yeah, see? So like
I fucking love him. So
okay, go ahead. Go for it.
I'm always talking about like shit's too poppy, like this pop garbage, blah 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 blah. But everyone in this band knows when pop is like so well done, I am the biggest fan, right? And the Get Up Kid, Something to Write Home About, brilliant album.
Yes.
Like, and that's like I'm a real bitch about pop music, and that when it's like cheap, you know. And it's Phil Collins is a fucking genius, even if you ignore the fact that he's like an awesome drummer and like played in Genesis and all that stuff.
Yep.
The songwriting that he did in the '80s. Shit is mind-blowingly good. Brilliant pop. Brilliant.
I didn't expect that.
And I love his voice, too.
I didn't expect that either. Wow.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
I love Phil Collins.
So never call me again.
I love Phil Collins 10 times more than Peter Gabriel, and I like Peter Gabriel. That's how I prefer Phil Collins.
I prefer Peter Gabriel. But
Yeah, I mean, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel wrote some great songs, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But when I look back at those songs in the 80s, Phil Collins, holy shit.
I don't disagree.
So
I don't
good.
disagree. It's not.
It like hurts you when he's like, oh my God, so good. Okay, so one of my biggest, I love Madonna. Fucking love Madonna.
Oh, dude, I'll get on board with that. Madonna and Michael
Madonna.
Jackson. I mean,
What is going on here?
Madonna
I like Rush.
Oh, there we go. There's my
Rush.
dude.
Yeah, Alex and I saw Rush many years ago. The Wells Fargo
picked us
Center.
up in an abandoned parking lot because we got so drunk we couldn't find the CVS.
And then we also we bought chicken fingers and French fries and like 2 beers or something, and it was like what,
It was $80.
Jesus
But
Christ.
it was great because it was Rush, and
yeah, exactly. I mean, who can say that they've seen Geddy Lee live?
That's pretty
You know. Oh man.
I love Rush. Yeah, Rush is Kevin and I both. We just I mean, Neil Peart's the best. Like you can't.
and that's where you talk about the marriage of like pop music and brilliant musicianship, which is just like
Yes.
it's so rare, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Rush is.
I've been a Pert over Bonham fan, and I know that's a fucking argument time. So like I've
That's
always been
that's
a
an
Pert
argument?
over it really
That is not an argument. No, it's not.
It always what? No, hold on. It's always it's always an argument because they bring up the drum solo where he uses his fucking hands. It's never about creativity or the song or what they do in the song. It's always, have you ever seen the solo where he uses his fucking hands like bongos? And you're like, if that's your argument,
if that's the argument, then sure. But I mean, listen, Neil Peart is like the most influential drummer in modern rock history. I would think, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of really good metal drummers actually say that as well.
Oh yeah, they're all in the fridge. Got them cold for you.
Oh yeah, we gotta crack those beers out, bro. That's what I'm saying.
I don't get them right now.
Yeah, Joe, I heard that there was a beer delivery at Alex's place. I unfortunately didn't get to experience them, but they
better
bring you
promise
one
to hold you
at
one.
practice.
Yeah, they better hold you.
No,
We're gonna bring you one to practice. Don't worry about that.
Kevin said he was coming over, and apparently he lied to us. He's not here.
Well, I don't know about that, but don't worry, we're going to see each other in a matter of days. So
I mean, yes, it is. The countdown is on.
yeah,
So you must be super like I know I brought it up before, but you must be super excited to just get in a room and just fucking unwind.
yeah.
Absolutely. I like playing loud.
Is there
Yes.
are there a lot of new songs that you'll be working on during this time period where you're back together now and you're like, all right, now we need to do the song the way that I had envisioned? Or
Dude, we are oh my god, that's a very weird question right now. We have so much like
go ahead, tell me.
no, I mean we just so we have, I'd say, like a whole drive on Google. It's just filled with like over from probably starting like almost 2 years ago. Like really, once we got done writing for the first record, like I just keep like I play all the time, and I always record when I'm playing. Like I don't know, like I'll always just throw it down. So I have hundreds of like snippets of like little things over the years, like this or that. But like in particular, like what we're like working on, like I must have how many songs like ideas you think we have now, Kevin? It's got to be like 10, 12 ideas of just like individually like, hey, I got this thing. What do you think about this? And kind of like, oh yeah, I'll do this here, blah, blah. And we get like a minute of it done. We're like, okay, that's cool. Let's do something else now. Just like, and so we have all these pieces and it's like,
Okay.
I'm debate. I don't know. Opening that closet's going to be tough. A lot of stuff's going to fall out.
Yeah, I think the first practice is going to be like reacquainting to playing together. That's probably honestly what's going to happen. We're probably going to focus on like one song or two songs that we want to like ideally play, but it's going to be a year behind us that we haven't been in the same room playing. So that's probably going to be the first practice. And then after that, I think, like Alex said, we're really going to have a lot of material that we can start from and then just build on from there. And I think as we start to get to, practice together more and more, we will probably have much more material shaping up for a future release. So I can see that happening like very quickly, actually, because we're motivated to be able to, be in the same room again. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plus then it'll just be. I mean, we have everything now set up to do all this. Like, so now we do all of our own recording. Like, we track our last split that came out with Thief Club. We recorded everything either here in our little upstairs studio or all the drums and stuff at Kevin's place. So it's just like now we really can like sit around and be like, hey, we're playing this. That sounds good. Okay, hit spacebar, and then just you record it. It's done. It's like having like a permanent recording studio. So like we can really crank stuff out pretty quickly once we just like get it done now. Whereas before it was more of like the right, remember it all in your head, and then go to the studio and spit it all out at once.
Yeah, and I think this pandemic, kind of forced us into a new creative aspect. Like we since we haven't been able to get together in person, we've tried to force ourselves to be more creative in how do we craft music together in a digital world. So fortunately, we have a setup where like all of my drums are always mic'd all the time. So if we ever have to do any recording, we're able to plug it in to Pro Tools and just kind of like do a track if we need to. And then we also have the electronic drum set tied into like a computer, like a MacBook Pro or something, so that we can actually like bring that into a live Zoom feed and kind of practice over Zoom.
Pretty sweet.
So we have all of that figured out, and that was a very big effort by all of us figuring everything, especially Alex and Bobo. But we had that all figured out, and now Alex has his own studio that you can see he's in right now. He really put that together in the past year significantly, which is amazing. Bobo has his own setup where he is. Pat has his. So we all have our own, different setups, and we're able to really, dial in together digitally and just work on our own parts as we see fit. So it's been interesting. It's been quite a learning experience over the last year, like doing that.
Yeah, pretty much being your own audio engineer now. So kind of throwing you into the fire and seeing if you can figure it out and piece everything together.
I wonder if a lot of bands are going to start doing this more self-production like we have, because we can't be the only band out there that during the pandemic had to find another way to make things work. You know what I mean?
Well, isn't that how the Postal Service did it?
I don't know.
They sent each other shit through the mail, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they sent each other shit through the mail. So, like, now it's like a definite. I think you're exactly right. So I want you to elaborate more on that.
The part of that also is that because we live in this, the world of the 24-hour news cycle, we also live in the world of the single now. People aren't waiting for your whole record to drop anymore. If you wait 2 years to put out a record, you're done before you get started at this point in the game. It's all about hitting those playlists and getting those songs out as soon as they're ready. So I feel like bands are on a shorter timeline, which makes you more likely to do things independently and yourself, just to get them out there and keep the on the ground running, keep the hamster ball rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I'm interested to see if more bands are going to be in that model now, because being in the pandemic, sitting at home, what else do you have to do but you learn how to do this stuff and do it correctly and do it effectively. So
you don't even really need to learn a lot anymore. It really is. They've made some, like when Kevin, for example, we got a new interface in this basement to do part of this whole Zoom thing, whatever. And Kevin's like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. Are you going to help me? I was like, trust me. I was like, just plug it in. It's going to work. And that's all you had to do. Like you plugged in the microphone. I was like, does it work? Because like that's what I'm saying. They already have this shit figured out. Like,
yeah,
it's really just connecting all the dots together into a Zoom environment. Like that's pretty much like if you can make that happen, then that's like you can collaborate in real time, so to speak. It's still a little challenging, but you're going to get that latency because you have the different internet speeds and just the delay in general. But you'll be able to really listen to, like, for example, for me, like I'll listen to guitar parts that Alex or Pat or Bobo come up with, and then I can like think of ideas. There is a motivation factor, though. I think it's just like, because there's like that wall up, there's a little bit of, you're not, at least for me, I'm not feeling like I can be as creative as quickly in this environment, but it's at least an outlet to be able to have to move forward. So it's been a learning experience. Alex and Bobo, I would say, have been leading the charge there a lot, and really helping Pat and myself and Jay kind of get all set up. But it's been working out pretty good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And also part of it also is, especially in like the last decade or so, the cost of it has come down astronomically compared to how much it would cost to do this stuff and get professional quality sound than it would be even a decade ago. So nowadays, for the price of going to the studio to track like, an EP's worth of songs, you could buy all the gear yourself and have it forever to do. Do you know what I mean? So, which is, I feel bad if you're running a studio, because they're going the way of the dinosaur. Unfortunately, it's just getting tougher and tougher to convince bands to come in and track bands and make a record, because they can do it all at home with the same gear, and it's not that expensive anymore, and it's so much more convenient.
The studio experience is so much fun, though. It's really hard to replace that.
Especially sitting on that couch. If you have that couch that's behind the person on the mixing board and everything, and you're just like, Ooh, listen to all the monitors. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, can you make it come out more on that side? Like,
Yeah. And everything sounds like so good in a studio, you know?
oh, yeah, especially on the playback.
They spend thousands of dollars making that like as perfect as possible. And that like, you know, that it's hard to reproduce some things that you would typically get in the studio. But it's very convenient to be able to just get things out, like ideas down and just record them on a whim and not really be tied to a studio. So.
I definitely dig that.
I think the combination of these two things as we get back to practicing together is going to be like the perfect thing, because we have the benefit of being able to like record a riff at home, just like a 20-second riff or something. And before we get together and practice, you can listen to that. You can record something, on another track, see how it sounds together. It's like gonna be, the potential there is awesome,
Yeah, and then like when we're done, like when the song's written, we're like, yo, when are we gonna track it? Well, we're already set up because we have the whole recording set up in Kevin's basement, which part of that is we also record all our practices. Because like my brother said, he kind of plays and records everything. So we wanted to take that one step further. So we actually have the whole setup. We can record everybody at practice, all the vocals, all the guitars, bass, drums, all at once. So we don't miss anything. Because there's a lot of times, how many times when you were a kid playing in a band or whatever, and you practice, and you play a chord, you're like, yo, what was that? And you're like, oh, I don't know what it was. I'm gonna try to figure it out. You spend 20 minutes trying to figure something out that you played just on, just doodling around on your guitar or whatever. No more of that. Now we have it on tape. We can go and find it.
As long as you write down what tuning you're in. That's what Matt and I are problematic. Yeah, we're not so good at that. I'll be like, that's a really cool riff. I have no idea what tuning it is.
So now we touched a little bit on famous influences, Phil Collins, but who else has some famous influence? Like, what really made With Abandon sound?
Oh man.
Other than Jägermeister and a can-do attitude, I don't know.
I thought your music would be fucking way angrier with Jägermeister.
No, it's angry. We're just also very old and slow.
Yeah. Jägermeister. When I drank, that's before I quit drinking until I drank.
Oh yeah,
that
Hair loves Jägermeister. Little known fact, he's a straight Chad. If you guys didn't know, he loves the stuff.
It tastes like liquor. It tastes like black licorice, and I love black licorice.
It is pretty good.
And I'm a little bit of a sissy. Like I don't really like drinking stuff that doesn't taste good. Like I don't know.
I have a question. What do you consider famous as an influence? Like, is NoFX famous enough to be a famous influence?
Yeah, but that's kind of like, I feel like NoFX is kind of predictable. I want to like I'm looking like, I mean, the kid Matt Morin was in a melodic hardcore band that toured Germany. Like I'm talking like Face Punch hardcore, and his influence Phil Collins. I want to know what's your like fucking Lady Gaga or something. You know what I mean? Well, like I want to know.
Kevin already said Taylor Swift and outed himself. So you know what, Kevin, you don't get to talk anymore. Man,
how about so I really like Steely Dan. I don't know if that's
okay.
Like too
whatever, but that's fucking cool.
They're one of my favorite bands. Love Steely Dan. I mean, yeah.
We're gonna write a whole yacht rock record at some point, actually. So.
What?
We're gonna write a whole yacht rock record.
Steely Dan is not yacht rock. That's offensive.
What do you mean? They are the pioneers of yacht rock as a genre. They are like the band.
Steely Dan rules. All right. Rock.
Listen, if you've got boat shoes, you got some nice khakis, and you got Steely Dan, you're sitting on a boat.
No, that's like Bob Seger, dude.
No, it's not. What do you know? Get out of here.
What's that guy with Peter Frampton? That's yacht rock.
I mean, that's also yacht
Peter
rock,
Frampton,
yes.
Big time is fucking yacht rock.
That's also yacht rock, absolutely.
And Paul Simon too. Throw him on the list.
I love Paul Simon.
Fair. Paul Simon's not yacht rock.
Listen, Paul Simon's video with Chevy Chase, "Call Me Al," is like the best video ever made.
Yacht rock.
If you don't think so, I will fight you. Come find me with Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yacht rock.
Fuck.
I'm trying to think if there's any other weird bands that people are super into. I mean, I'm into a lot of weird shit, but like, I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I just listen to a lot of stuff, right? But none of it's poppy. It's like everything else. I'm not like, I don't know. I don't believe in guilty pleasures, I guess, too. But like, if I liked pop, I would tell a lot of people. It's It's not because I'm like ashamed of it or whatever. Like, dude, you like Lady Gaga? You love Lady Gaga? That's great. I know. I don't know.
I heard Pat likes Chumbawamba.
What?
Pat likes
Oh,
Chumbawamba.
Bobo loves Chumbawamba.
No, I do. That's different. That's like 90s alternative. Like, who doesn't
Yeah.
like 90s alternative?
Yeah,
I mean,
No,
that's
they're not alternative. What the hell world were you living in? Dude, Christ. Oh.
no, we got Pat upset. Here we
Alternative
go.
died in
Pat just
1994
got
with
so
Kurt
fucking
Cobain.
mad.
Everything that came
Go
after
ahead,
that
Pat.
was a cheap.
I read that one to you. Go ahead.
Or Chumbawamba's pop music. Fuck that stupid shit.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Here we go.
Here we go.
See, I planted
Wow.
that to see what would happen. There you go.
Okay, I got one, actually.
What?
Okay,
I love
okay.
that Third Eye Blind record.
Oh, who doesn't? 100%.
It's total pop. It's something I should hate.
That doesn't count.
It's something I should hate.
That doesn't count. That's good pop.
I tried to hate it for a while, but I actually love it.
I tried to hate it for a while. It didn't take.
It's super dark. The lyrics are like
It is. It's terrible.
so dark.
It's like, hey, we're drug addicts and we're all going to kill ourselves.
Yes. It's so dark.
That was all of the 90s. That was all of the 90s. Like, people joke about sad boy emo music, and then you go back to grunge and you're like, fuck. It wasn't about girls. It was just about being real sad. Like,
Like
fucking
hardcore sad. Yeah.
oh, yeah. To the point where you're like, nope, no medication's going to fix this. Nope, I'm out. You know? What are some... So,
I love
playing in other bands, right? What were some like local shows that you really enjoyed? My favorites were like the VFWs and things like that, where you had to book them yourself. So like, I know Jay's not here right now. Hopefully he pops in at some point later on. But like, I remember playing with Jay at a local VFW, and the place had way past the fucking fire marshal code. So it was like, you know, Just Surrender was such a huge deal to us in New England because they were so well known. And it was really cool to see the progression of other bands do the same thing, like Vanna, like being like the local band that got to open for someone like them. So who were some local acts that you like really enjoyed playing with, and what were some venues you really enjoyed playing in your...
Oh, I love those local shows. And I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing again. I don't know if that ever, like, what where kids are watching shows nowadays, if that's ever really going to be a thing again. But they really missed out on the time, like those early 2000s, that mid 2000s era where people were playing at fire halls and VFW halls and stuff like that. Man, those were the most fun. I used to book a fire hall. Was it Liberty Fire Hall in York? I used to run shows out of there for about a year and a half until we kicked a hole in the wall and they kicked us out. But oh yeah, and every Saturday and Friday, man, we'd have some great bands come through. I remember playing with some of those bands. I actually, my first band when I played in college, we played at the American Music Cafe in Murraysville, Pennsylvania with Yellow Card. And there were like 2 kids there because that was before One for the Kids had come out. And the promoter tried to like talk us out of playing the show. They're like, yeah, they're like punk with like a violin. I don't know if they're like any good or anything. You probably don't want to play that show. We're like, we'll play it, whatever. We want a show. And dude, let me tell you, man, we saw that band play. I remember watching them on the stage, and it was like 2 kids there, and the band's watching. That was how all those shows were. There'd be 2 or 3 kids, and all the other bands, and the crowd was like 20 people total. And they got on stage and they started playing. I was just like, this band is the future. Like, this is what pop punk is. Like, this is amazing. And of course, I mean, they were. You know what I mean?
They blew my fucking mind when I first heard them. I think Powder was the first song I heard by them. Yep. And I was like, is that a fucking viol? Okay, so maybe they use the MIDI keyboard, right? Then I watched the music video and I'm like, no fucking way. They have an electric violinist. Wait, what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm a huge Yellow Card fan. They're probably one of my top 5 favorite bands. So
Matt loves Yellow Card.
I love Yellow Card. I'm a huge.
You love them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, you sounded like you had a little disdain there for a second. Is that like you also like them, or? He was like, Matt likes Yellow Card.
Yellow Card's an odd one just for Kevin. Like, you wouldn't think Kevin would be a Yellow Card fan. That's really more what it is, but he is. I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is a Yellow Card fan. That is true.
Their drummer's great.
Their drummer's phenomenal. Their drummer was the first person I noticed use their ride a lot and a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of pop punk
dude,
bands,
LP was just LP3. Dude, that guy could play. I mean, I don't know what he's doing now. He must be a session drummer. He has to be making drum. He has to be making a living playing drums.
Yeah,
right?
I
You know-
hope that he is.
It's funny you bring that up because I remember I was watching. I don't remember what I was watching. It was like I think I just had the TV on at one point, and it was like it wasn't like the Today Show, but it was like one of those shows where they'll have like a live act on and only play one song. It's like kind of like one of those. You know what I'm talking about?
Like an unplugged
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah, but it was like the full band.
Okay.
So I remember like watching the TV and they're like, oh, this band's coming on. I forget the name of the band, but I looked at the drummer and the drummer was definitely the drummer of Yellow Card and it was not Yellow Card. And I can't recall if it was like a point when Yellow Card was on hiatus or they broke up or whatever, but it was really, I don't know. It caught me off guard because when I saw him, I was like, wow, he's the drummer for Yellow Card. I didn't realize he might be a session drummer. Did he join a new band? Is he not in Yellow Card anymore? Like I had a lot of questions when I saw him playing.
I
with
get
another band. But yeah, his style is just, I mean, crazy. Like the way he plays, how quick he plays, just everything about him.
That's sort of how I feel about you know the band The Receiving End of Sirens?
No.
Okay, so like Andrew
Yeah.
Cook.
Oh, Trios, yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like Andrew Cook is a fucking musical genius because he's in.
Hair, what's that band that kid Jack plays in that we toured with when he was really young?
Oh shit. They're really cool.
Is it? It's. You'll think of it.
Is
But
it
like,
an M? Start with an M?
Yeah, hold on.
you'll think of it. No, so that's kind of the other thing is touring with some of those bands back in the day. We play with a couple of musicians that have gone on to play in bigger bands and stuff that have really done well. That's like it's really
Sleeping
cool
with
to see.
Sirens.
What?
Sleeping with Sirens.
Yes, Sleeping with Sirens. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We played a
Holy
tour
shit!
with.
So with Kellen Quinn and Jack, yeah, okay.
Okay, so
dude.
Jack.
I was gonna say
Jack.
Sleeping with Sirens because when you said Jack, I was like, anytime someone says the name Jack, it's not even. That's the only. I don't think of fucking Jack White. I think of Jack
Right.
from Sleeping with Sirens when it pertains to this music genre.
The band before he was in Sleeping with Sirens was called Broadway. They were from Florida, and we toured with them. And I remember like
Okay.
the first night of that tour. So the first night of any tour is always like the best night because you get all these bands. You've talked on the phone, you've chatted over IM and email, whatever. But you know you're on the road. You show up at the first show. It's all a bunch of handshakes and hey, how's it going? Glad we're playing this tour together. Blah blah blah. So that was like that was Rose Matter's like last tour, and
Yeah.
it was Broadway's first tour. And they were younger than us, obviously. Jack was, I think he was 17 at the time. He was a young
He
kid.
definitely was 17. I remember.
Yes, he was young. And with the first night, you know, they get on the stage, and I think they played before us actually. So we saw them before they were like the opener or whatever. So they get on the stage and they start playing this first song, and I'm telling you, man, Jack just starts to shred like the first beat of the first song. It's just like I'm just like,
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
oh my dude. We were
were like, what the
so
fuck?
pumped because it's like you're gonna get to watch this kid play for a month, and he was an animal on stage, man. He was just crazy with energy, and he was just shredding. And I was so pumped. I was like, I'm gonna get to see a month of this dude. Hell yeah!
Yeah, it was awesome. Then we got in a prank war with that band, and that was the whole thing. I mean, that was a great tour.
Yeah,
That
we
was a
stole
great
our merch guy and we almost killed him in the van. Remember that? Yeah, we did that thing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude,
So we did this trick where he was asleep, like in the seat, and there were like 8 of us in the van, and he's the only one asleep. And so we all look at each other like, "Y'all got this." And we all count. We do the silent count to 3, and then we slam on the brakes, and everyone starts screaming. And he wakes up. He's like, "Oh!" Dude, we have it on video. It's so funny.
He literally peed his pants.
It's
He
so
literally-
funny.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's like, I pissed myself.
Dude, it was great because
Uh-oh.
he's in the like, bro, he's in the middle, so you can't sleep like this. So he has this pillow, and he's just hunched over. And he gets right there.
He does.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah,
He
that
didn't
was.
know where to go. It was trapped.
So during your touring experiences, out of state experiences, did you ever play any of the big venues as
Oh,
a
yeah.
smaller band? So like, what was that feeling like? Because like for us over here in New England, it's like the Palladium, or
Oh, yeah.
back in the day, you got to open at the Axis and Avalon. But the number one stage you wanted to hit at the start of the local was the Alston ICC Church, which is fucking notorious for every big Hit the Lights, the Receiving End of Sirens, Circus Survive, you fucking name it, August Burns Red. Everybody that wanted to play somewhere wanted the ICC or they wanted the Palladium downstairs or up. So what were some places that you got to hit up that like really hit your bucket list when you were starting out as a musician? You were like, my fucking goal is to get to the stage here.
Question. So I don't know if, at least where we live, there's like just one venue, because unfortunately in this area, like in the DC and the Philadelphia metro, there's a lot of venues that like are known for different scenes for different bands, but there's a lot of big venues out there. I think the goal is just to play the main stage at some of those venues when you're starting out. You know what I mean? Like I want to play main stage at Chameleon Club and with the big band and sell that place out. You know what I mean? I want to play the Auto Bar in Baltimore, and I want to play 930 Club in DC, places like that. You know what I mean? But they're all obtainable. I mean, we played a lot of great places, I think, on some of those tours, and it's always exciting that like when you're a band that's up and coming and you get some of those opportunities. I think it's a lot of fun. But again, like I always had more fun playing the smaller, like the skate parks and the VFW halls with like the walls of people. You know what I mean? Like I love that more than anything. I still do. I would still play those venues over like the big productions of like the 930 clubs and the auto bars and stuff now. But
I have one. This is an interesting story. You guys ever seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective? I know.
Fuck yes.
So the part where they go to the metal show and they're all like, "It's right here." You know, they're all like, whatever. I think it's Cannibal Corpse.
It's Cannibal Corpse.
It is.
Yes.
Right. So that's actually a real venue in Florida called the Metal Factory. So when I lived in Florida, I played in a band called Madeline for a little bit in South Florida, and we played the Metal Factory opening for Midtown. That was pretty cool. Like, and then once you like see it, like you're in there, then when you watch the movie, you're like, oh yeah, I was definitely at that play. You know what I mean? But it wasn't so much playing with Midtown, because that's I got a fun story about that someday. But like just playing like a scene from a movie, like it's kind of cool, right? I was like, I played that.
That is pretty fucking cool. Especially like
not there anymore.
It's really?
Yeah, it's gone now. Yeah.
Yeah, they've torn down a couple of the venues that we used to play. I remember like down here in Baltimore also was the venue called the Record Theater, which was a big venue. Like it was like a 2,500 cap venue. So like a lot of those big touring bands, like whenever like the Newfound Glories would come to town, things like that, the Yellow Cards, they'd play that venue. It's gone now too. The Chameleon Club in Lancaster just closed. I mean, I played
the Chameleon Club closed.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
I know they're moving. It's moving, but again, who knows what's going to happen? Or
I really hope the Chameleon Club can come back. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the focal point of this podcast as well. Is I'm tired of New Hampshire being fucking skipped over during tours. I know that it's Boston is where everyone wants to go and play, but having New Hampshire skipped over all the time is fucking infuriating. Like, driving from where I live in New Hampshire all the way down to the Palladium sucks, and the drive home sucks.
Where do you live in New Hampshire? Where are you from?
So I live right near Manchester, New Hampshire. So it's not. Yeah, I live in like a small town outside of it, but like Vermont gets skipped, New Hampshire gets skipped. They go right to Massachusetts, and then they go back home. They go back on their way. And I would really like to, along with the brewery that, you guys are drinking tonight, I would really like to get a beer and music festival up here in New Hampshire. And that's one of the main focal points of the podcast, is to interview people, talk to them, and be like, hey, if you ever want to come up this way, you have an open invite. So if we can put something together, you're more than welcome to play on it. We will find a place to have a venue. I know that the world's a little scary right now, but as you guys stated at the start of the podcast, like people are vaccinated now, things are starting to roll out. We're heading in the right direction. So I feel like everyone I've spoken to in the podcast so far as well has been like, this is a great fucking idea, because what you want to do is spotlight all these local businesses that got fucked during this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially during a tour, when you're on tour, someone's booking that. That's not, some major Bezos daddy. I know we're on Twitch right now. I'll bad for that. But it's okay. Don't subscribe with Prime. It's fine. Just it's one of those things where it's like, I want to see more people obtain their goal of being their own boss. And I'd really like to see that with music, with art, with artists, and with small business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you gotta do what they did in Wayne's World too. Like if you book them, they will come. So just
Fuck yeah.
just do the festival and just tell everyone they're playing. You put us on there, we'll show up. I mean, you can also put on what's the guy here? Phil Collins.
Yeah, put Phil Collins' name on there.
Put Phil Collins on, yeah, he'll be there.
If you put the name on the website, the people have to show up.
Right, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like when Cartman in South Park was like free punch and pie, and everyone fucking showed up, and they were real mad at him because there was no free punch and pie. Awesome.
That's a great reference. Oh wow. Anyone else here a huge South Park fan, or just?
I'm a huge South Park fan still.
Huge South Park fan.
I remember, this is going to date us.
That's okay.
Speaking of South Park the movie, which that's from, we watched that movie for the first time. My brother and I. We had a friend who worked at Taco Bell who got a bootleg VHS of that movie from his manager, and he brought it home. He was like, "Yo, I got the new South Park movie. Let's watch it."
That sounds like the most Jay and Silent Bob shit.
Dude,
There's clearly someone who had a video camera on their shoulder.
it was a pretty good bootleg though. And then at the one point when they reel in, I'll never forget this. This has never happened to me in my entire life. I didn't think this was a real thing. The scene where they wheel Bill Gates in, and they're like, "You told us Windows 98 would be faster," and then they shoot him in the head. Yeah. Our friend passed out from laughing. He hyperventilated and passed out.
Jesus Christ.
We thought he was dead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. I love it.
Been a South Park fan ever since. That's the moral about the story.
So, who are some local musicians currently that you're looking to link up with, and in the future maybe? Like, I know that you did that split. So, like, what are some other things that maybe you have in store? Because I like when other bands spotlight things. It's almost when the band Alexis on Fire did a split. I can't remember who they did this.
Moneen, one of my favorite bands.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
God,
I just had So I worked overnight last night, so that's why I'm a little bit fucking sluggish. So, I mean, I slept 3 hours and got up this morning because me and my wife are house hunting. So I was like, it's okay, honey, I'll get up and we'll go look at houses. And I'm sitting in the car, she said something, and I'm pretty sure that I answered, and I was like, I could have just told you can have my kidney. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Whatever you said, yes, whatever you said, babe, it's cool. Cool with you, it's cool with me. I'm gonna take a nap.
Well, I always feel bad because the next day I'm like a fucking zombie, and I don't want anyone to think I'm ignoring them or just brushing past something. So I'm always like, especially for this, I drank like 2 Red Bulls, so we're good to go.
That's a good question though. So bands that are like up and coming and stuff, I can give you some inside intel. So I have another band also, full disclosure, that is putting out more records this year too. So I play in 2 bands. I do double duty.
Yeah.
And Ford the River.
Okay.
We're more like we call ourselves like dad punk. So it's more like Menzinger's type rock. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
But and that band, we practice at a studio in Lancaster. It's the studio that You Mean Everyone Knows is recording the new record at. Let me tell you, when that record drops next year, it's gonna be the hottest record of the year. It is amazing. So keep an eye out. That band's gonna make a comeback like you won't believe, dude. They're gonna hit with the heat of 1,000 suns. It's gonna be awesome. So and so, there's some other bands. So there's a band out near in Jersey. I think they're in East Jersey actually, near Philadelphia, called Teenage Halloween. They just did an Audio True live set a few weeks ago, and I caught it. Hi, babe. And it is amazing. That's another band, an up and coming band that's going to be. Listen, call me up. We'll do something.
Halloween.
Teenage Halloween, dude.
Halloween, yeah.
Yeah.
But dude, I'll tell you what though, Joe. You get anyone else that comes on the show, you find a band looking to do a split, you send them our way. Because after tonight, we're gonna have 2 more songs in the can, ready to go. We're just looking for someone to link up with.
That's right. We're on the prowl, as they say. Yeah. We're single and ready to mingle.
I'll tell you what, doing a split today is way harder than it used to be in 2001. Like, they don't prepare you for all the shit you have to deal with, man. You can't just call Spotify. Yeah, you can't just call Spotify and go, "Yo, here's our split." Like, make sure we both get it.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's a pain in the ass. And you know what the other thing is when people are independent artists and then their fucking music gets a copyright strike, and you're like, "Whoa, bitch! this is mine. No one owns it. Like, I wrote this. How the fuck are you gonna mute my audio? Like, there's been so many times where I've had bands on that are independent artists that have no record label affiliation. And just like in your box, I sent you like the pre-question thing that's just kind of like a big glaze over of like what we're gonna talk about. But in there, I literally say, is it okay to play your music? If you're on a label, I have to speak to the label. If you're not on a label, I talk to you who own your music. So it always pisses me off when I have to argue with YouTube or Twitch and say to them, yes, we're on Twitch right now, and I fucking hate arguing with you over the fact that you mute the audio when there's no... I've talked to the band. We've established this. I'm not going to fuck someone over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very frustrating,
We
and
just
I
ran
get
into that,
it's all automated. So
Exactly.
process is
I
difficult,
don't know if we actually resolved our copyright dispute. We got involved with one with a one William B. Corgan.
Yeah, but it wasn't him, obviously.
I don't know that. I don't know.
I hope he did it.
But yeah, we posted a snippet of our song or something in like an Instagram post. Like, yeah, we paid the licensing fees.
Of course,
we did all like
Yeah.
things you're supposed to do. And Instagram said it was a copyright.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, like it's
So we were
No,
like,
we paid
"It's
for the
out there,
copyright
go
license."
Listen to it. And then it got like cold, you know?
right.
Yeah, that's the thing. These
Super annoying.
digital distribution companies, like they handle a lot of those, you know, those cover royalties for you on your
Okay.
behalf. So
Right.
when you upload to a place like DistroKid, for example, they're going to cover that. Like you're going to say this is a cover song, and you know you specify who the artist is, and you like make sure you tag it properly. But when you do that, they go out and get the license for you, so that you're covered as an artist, and that license is good for as long as you're with that distribution company. If you change distribution companies, that's a different story. Like they'll have to get another license from that company,
Yeah.
so it doesn't transfer, but like it covers you as the artist for the amount of time that you're using that distributor. But it's just like everything else. Like once your music goes from that distributor and it actually goes out to like Facebook or YouTube or any of those external sources, they have their own systems in place where they do those, you know, scans and automation. They figure out if it's like a valid song or not. But yeah, with that example, we got an alert on Instagram about that, and we were like, but we looked back at our distributor, and our distributor said that it was actually released to Instagram. So the scan, like the ISRC code and like all that back end crap you deal with, that was already established and pushed out to all of these different places. So they should have the copy, like the scan of our music, and they should have our code, and they should know that that song is someone else's song on the back end, but we performed it differently. So it's interesting. So very interesting how the music industry is like.
I think the problem is Billy Corgan's just upset we didn't ask him personally first.
Well,
He's just like
He's pissed because our version was like so much better.
you know, yeah, I don't think. I mean, yeah, that's not.
He's more focused on his fucking independent wrestling company than he is on music. I'm pretty sure it probably wasn't him. It was probably some prick at Instagram that was just like, fuck him, and like I'm reporting you. You know,
man, I'm reporting you.
This isn't my song, me.
Yeah, exactly. So like, speaking of covers, like I think right now one of the ones that's like the elephant in the room, but it's not really the elephant in the room, is a band called Our Last Night. I don't know if you're with them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're actually from here in New Hampshire, and I grew up playing with them often. So Trevor, their lead singer, not Matt the guitarist singer, but Trevor the lead singer, was like fucking 12 years old in the world. So I remember like picking that kid up with a bunch of other people, holding him up in the air as he's like screaming the songs and being like, wait a minute, just turned 13 and they're heading out on a tour under Apatef's label. And now they're an independent artist, and their fucking covers are unbelievable and averaging about 5 to 6 million. So it's really cool to see someone be there, like I said, someone be their own boss and delegate their music the way they want to. Because I think the biggest pet peeve I have with the music is that they get the change. You get nothing. So when you sign with like a major label, they own you outright until you're free from your contract. And then if you're an independent artist, let's say like Macklemore, you fucking call the shots. You do what you. So I love seeing independent artists gain traction by being the best that they can be and being what they want to be, and then all of a sudden people catch on. So how do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like you like writing the music you like, or you like going with what's popular?
I
That's what I
mean,
really want to know is like, you like your pop punk music, you like punk music. Do you like writing the music you like because it's catchy, or is this the music that's fucking plaguing your mind, and like the 10-year riff that he had is it all those things culminating? Is it things that were in the back of your head for years and you're like, no, this is the music I need to.
I don't think that, at least in my history, and I think my brothers too,
Yeah, I want to hear everyone's input on this.
that we've ever written music that we didn't want to play like at that point in time. I
Okay.
mean, we struggle, and I even now, like you said, like popular music versus like punk rock. Listen, I don't think punk rock's not popular anymore. I think it's all about the indie pop and stuff now.
Yes.
I think rock music's a dinosaur. Which, you know what, that sucks. You're all missing out because it still fucking rules.
Yeah.
But I think we're a dinosaur in the industry. But you know what? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play skate punk till I die, motherfucker. I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm gonna play Get Up Kids, and I'm gonna play Owen, and I'm gonna play whatever I want.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Deal with it. You won't.
Yeah. I mean, look, like Nickelback sold like 10 million friggin' records.
That's still like fucking 80 million, probably.
I mean, yeah, I'm beyond caring what other people like. I don't know. Yeah, I never really. I'm with Matt there. Like, we never really had anyone. I mean, when we got signed to Lobster, Steve. I mean, he signed us because he liked music. He didn't have any intention of like telling us to do anything differently. So I mean, we were really fortunate there, I think.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just, as a principal, like I don't know, like here's the thing, people can do whatever they want to do. You want to be in a cover band, you want to be a hired gun, you want to be, I believe that people should have the choice to do whatever they want. But I mean, for us, it's like a choice. Like I would never choose to play music I don't want to play.
So anyone who's in music for a reason other than making good music is a total douchebag. And that's dumb. Like, I mean, it's okay. Like, if you actually just like are like, this is my means for getting popular and getting famous. Okay, I guess. But like, for me, like, I don't know. It was like, it's disgusting and gross.
Tell us how you really feel, Patty. Casual Rick coming in hot with the hot takes.
And of course, like, I say all this stuff like, oh, I'm so true to the music that I love, blah, blah, blah. And like, it's the Phil Collins. I know. Well, I love Phil Collins. See, that's the thing. It's like, I can't even imagine like spending time on something if you didn't really feel passionate about it. I would just be like, I don't want to do this anymore. If I felt motivated by being like, I'm just going to write like the next, whatever popular song just because I want to be famous.
Yeah.
Like, it would be nice to hit that sweet spot for some people who have been like, I'm writing the music I love, and then you actually get popular. That's great. But yeah, to me, I don't know. I'm fortunate that, I write all the stuff I want to, and I don't even have to worry about it because nobody cares. No one listens to it. It's just great. I'm pure.
You've got some pretty good listeners, man. Amongst us in New England, we've actually been following pretty closely with the band because
Okay, I like to hear that.
Yeah, so it's like I know that it's I never like singling out a band, but like singling out Jay because we knew Jay. It's nice to be able to play that 7 Degrees to Kevin Bacon game where with musicians. So it's kind of like really nice that I noticed that he had posted the With a Band and stuff, and I was like, and then for the longest time I was thinking about doing this podcast where I did interviews of, because I really don't want to know how much blow Nikki Sixx did, or who snorted a line of piss off the ground from Ozzy Osbourne. Like, I don't give a shit about that stuff. I care about what your local music was like, because that's what I got to experience. I don't care about the other shit. Really not pertinent. Maybe if I did become famous, and I ended up fucking losing it all, and I wanted to hear from other people, then I would do the podcast that way. It's sort of like, like a Flava Flav or something. But like, I feel like I would want to do it more to know what you guys did differently. Because over here, I didn't get involved in music until I met certain friends. I grew up in Revere, Massachusetts. I don't care if that doxes me. I don't give a shit.
Your
But,
real name, your real name's on this anyways. You're already doxed, bro.
yeah,
It's
that's
all good.
fine. I don't give a fuck. But it's one of those things of like growing up in Revere, but I hung out in a different town where all those kids played in the local scene. And I had never heard of a local scene. I heard of it bits and pieces in Revere, but it was mostly like bands that were sort of like much older than us that I didn't have
Yep.
any interest in, or the few that I did were actually like one grew up with my brother, which is the Red Chord. They were a grindcore metal band.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love the Red
Yeah,
Chord.
so
Yeah,
I'll
hell
actually
yeah.
on the 12th of May, I'll be interviewing Mike McKenzie, Gunface from the Red Chord. He's in a
Oh,
new
cool.
he's in a new band on Death Wish Records with Jake Bannon called Umbra Vitae, and it's really fucking good.
There's a record
So it'll be
label called Death Wish Records.
Yeah, don't you know?
We got to get on that.
Death Wish.
Oh, so Harbor Lights, the second band I interviewed on this podcast, is actually on Death Wish Records. If you want to listen to a really great melodic punch you in the fucking mouth band, it's Harbor Lights band. And it's really funny because the guitarist Matt Singer, I went to high school with him, and he always played guitar, never showed up for fucking class, and then he's in Harbor Lights and like fucking doing his thing, and I'm like, I'm really proud of that kid because he really stuck to his guns. You know what I mean? Like, I love when people are like, fuck the normal, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm going to get where I want to get. You know what I mean? Like you guys said, we're going to make the music we want to make, and it's if it gets popular, cool. If it doesn't get popular, cool. I'm gonna stay true to myself.
Yeah, I think every band at some point though, like I think that's how we feel now. Obviously, being older, like we all have good jobs. Like, listen, I don't care how popular with the band it makes. We have to make it so big for me to quit my job at this point to go on tour. Like it's not going to happen. Like it's just not. You know what I mean? Like we can do whatever we want now because we're afforded the luxury of like we've all done well in life outside of music.
Right.
But I think there's always a point like when you're younger and you're actually really crushing it out there, like playing that local scene, trying to get kids to listen to you. I think every band wants to be popular, regardless if they care about the music they're making being popular or not. Because again, I don't think we ever change our music to be popular. But it doesn't mean you don't try to be the best band you can be still. You know what I mean? It's just that weird dichotomy of like, you don't want to admit that like you want people to like you and but we don't want to sell out and we don't want to write music people to listen to, but you actually do because you want to be popular. That's why you're doing this. You want to play music for a living. You want it to go as far as it can go. So I don't know if that rains on Pat's
music. I think is cool.
Right. Yeah. You want to do it your way, but you still want to get it done. So I think every band goes through that phase where like we're listen, I will fully admit, like as a professional musician, I failed. I have failed. I have cratered into the ground. I have burned that house to the fucking tinders. It's done. It's all right.
Yeah.
I will never be a professional musician anymore. But you know what? I'm cool being a good amateur.
Oh yeah. I can't be a
And that has been our therapy session. I feel like you just had a breakthrough with me, and I'm your therapist right now.
Don't bill me though. Like that, you have to wait till Tuesday to cash that check. All right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right.
As long as I get to ride the dog with a saddle, we're cool.
Yeah. That's how I get to work now, man. I can't afford a car anymore. That's the price of being a musician.
That's the price of being a musician. But it's
He's
like
actually sleeping at his girlfriend's house.
I remember being a teenager, being on tour, and thinking the $5 footlong was the greatest invention.
Oh,
in the world
dude!
Because of how you had to spend your fucking money and be like, I really hope I have enough to get me through this 11-day stretch.
And that was like a lot of food, right? I mean, like for $5. I mean,
we had
That's a good question.
so-
I want to hear everyone's favorite tour meal. Because I have one, it takes out my mind.
That's a good one.
Bubba, what's your favorite tour meal?
Come back to me. What's yours first? I gotta think of mine real quick. It's been a minute.
We played a venue. I don't remember the venue. The show doesn't important though. You guys, you know the band Between the Trees? I don't know. They were like popular for a little bit. But they're from Winter Park, Florida. It was their first show we played with them. We were on tour. And afterwards, went to this. It definitely was a fast food restaurant that got closed down, and then someone else bought it and reopened it. And it was a fast food Italian food. And there was this little old lady who was like 86 years old who would walk around every 5 minutes and go, breadsticks. And she kept giving us breadsticks. And we sat there eating this like $6, all you could eat pasta buffet. It was the greatest day of my life. Oh my god!
That sounds
Just
fucking.
when you thought, yeah, I mean, it was, and just when you thought you were done, just you hear the Red Boys like s'more breadsticks. We're like, oh yeah, yes we would.
You always had to be pay attention to. So whenever you're in a band, and you're touring, and like you said, $5 footlongs. Listen, $5 has to go a long way. So because of that, my favorite tour meal was always Waffle House, because we would go like at 2 a.m. after every show. You're driving to the to the hotel wherever you're driving to, and you're like, yo, we gotta go. Let's go to Waffle House. We get the all-star breakfast. You get the waffle. You get the eggs. You get the meat. You get the coffee to keep you awake all night. And it was like $7.
You get a waffle.
I said that. I said waffle first.
Okay.
Pay attention.
I want to make sure the waffle is the most important part of Waffle House.
Hey,
Yeah.
Alex, Florida with the ferret. Remember they owned a restaurant? What was that place called? They had a great breakfast. That sticks out in my mind.
Ooh,
I forget what that place was called.
Was that the tour we did with you guys? Yeah, our bands toured at one point together, Dear Stardom and Rose Matter, and we ran into the back of Dear Stardom's trailer like that day after that. That was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's on video too. We used to let video recorder a lot when I was in the band. I used to love that thing, and we have the recording of me hitting their. Not me. I was recording. Katie was driving, and she ran into the back of the trailer.
I remember playing a long time ago in the Bronx, New York, and it scared the fucking shit out of us. I was in a metalcore band, and the band we were touring with is a band that Jay actually played with a bunch, 13 Yards to Victory. I ended up joining them much later as their bassist, but they were a pop punk band with breakdowns, and I'll never forget hardcore girls and boys flipping off the pop punk band and us going on after them and me being nervous the whole fucking time. And I have like a nautical star tattooed on my calf. It was like my first tattoo with a Boston B in the middle. And one of the kids literally goes, Boston, you're a long way from there. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking die tonight. This kid's name is Atlas. I'm fucked. Like, they were all like the beat you down. Like, literally the girls were just as tough as the boys, maybe even tougher. But when we played, they gave us respect. But when the pop punk band played, they were fucking like the whole time. And we're like, sorry guys, we should play before you.
So this is a good category also, is shows that you showed up to that you didn't actually play because the venue was too scary. So
oh boy, let's get into this shit.
Okay. It's actually kind of a semi-famous just venue. Is it Churchill's Pub in Miami, Florida?
Yes.
Yep.
So my band was booked to play there. My brother had lived in Florida for years before this, so he knew what it was. He knew all about it. So Churchill's, for those of you who don't know, it's in like the projects of Miami. It is not a safe area. So we didn't know this. So we're playing Churchill's tonight. That's cool. We saw Poison Well played there. Like it was like a famous venue. They came up there playing that venue a lot. Like, oh, cool. We're gonna play the same venue as Poison the Well. This is awesome. We get off the highway, the exit, and we drive driving off the off ramp, and we're looking around, and all the businesses and all the homes have bars on the windows, and we're like, oh, that's a little strange. So, and then we start driving down the street towards the venue, and we're like, it's apparently clear we are not in a good part of town. It's dark out. It's like 8:00 at night, and we were touring in the winter, so it was dark out already, like pitch dark. And we pull into like this shady looking parking lot, and there's just people like hanging out on corners and hanging out on like their stoops and stuff, and they're all looking around, and they're all looking at our van with our trailer hooked up, and we're all like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this place? And I remember what the deal was. We sent our guitar player Luke in to scope out the scene inside this place because we were all afraid to get out of the van. And while he's in there, I call my brother. I call Hare. I'm like, hey Hare. And he's like, what? I was like, we're at Churchill's Pub. Have you ever heard of it? I remember for a second nothing happens. Like the line's dead. And then I just hear this. And then he hangs up. That was the whole phone call. He laughs at me and then he hangs up.
Of the dark shit.
Yeah. So Luke comes back out and he's like, yo, we should leave. So we're like, what? He goes, now would be a good time. And we left because it was apparently, like, he walked inside and it was like this the diviest of the dive places. Nobody was in there except like 80-year-old regulars. He's like, yo, this is not a show we're going to make any money at. If we leave our gear here, it's probably getting stolen. Like, we should get out of here. So we actually didn't play the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
When we were at that Bronx venue, they actually had us back the van and trailer up against the fucking wall because the two bays in the warehouse across from us were chop shops.
Oh, dude.
Like straight up
Wow.
like Russian mafia chop shops. So
Okay.
like I'm talking
Okay.
tracksuits, shell toes, and fucking
Whew.
chains. And I'm like, we should probably back the van and the trailer up against the wall and then maybe take the wheels off. We should maybe take the wheels just so we can leave. If they steal our shit, it's fine. But if we can leave, it's okay.
You can leave with your life at least, which is important. I remember we played a show one time, and the band we were touring with, Schoolboy Humor, took off our tires of our trailer and threw them on the stage while we were playing our set.
No,
That was a good prank.
No, that was Broadway.
Oh, it's Broadway that did that. I thought it was Schoolboy Humor that did that. My fault.
So Jack's
fucking
band
Jack
took your
did.
Yeah.
tires off.
Yeah.
Yes, dude, we're playing the show, and fucking Jack from Sleeping with Sirens just walks up to the stage and goes,
Yes.
oh man.
That's so awesome. Did you guys ever play at venues where they had like a loft that you could stay at?
No.
We
I don't
played
think
at a place
so.
in Pennsylvania. I want to say it was Montrose, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And
Wait,
it was a vent. So like the venue had, so, not to mention Loden, fucking like three giant flights of stairs. It might as well have been 6 flights of stairs to the top. There was the venue, and then above the venue was like an apartment that was just wide open. It was like a studio. So she had a bunch of beds up there and was like, "Oh, I changed the bedding every time bands stay." So we stayed at this place, and it was really creepy because she like kept coming over from her next door apartment and like show up like as we were winding down. Like I had an issue because I had fucked my back up bringing up my bass cab up to the venue itself. So I like had put Tiger Balm on my back, and then I took a piss and forgot to wash my hands before taking a piss. So I went to bed and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like something's up with the sheets. I'm having a reaction. No, I got Tiger Balm on my dick. So it's like, so she
Well
shows
played.
up like while we're trying to wind down, and it's like we're like I'm starting to nod off, and this like we're like fucking not me more. Why are you here? She had like those like moo-moos, like those she had that on and like that fucking show on Hulu, The Maidens or whatever. She had like her hair braided in this like fucking Amish hat thing. And I was just like mortified. I was like, I'm gonna go sleep in the van. I feel like I'm gonna get turned into a if we don't get to wake up in the morning.
We've all done that. We've all slept. We've all chosen to sleep in the van rather than the actual place we're supposed to sleep at one point in time.
What?
Tell them about the ferret.
The ferret. Oh man.
Yeah, I thought I heard ferret, but I didn't want to like jump in and say like, what the fuck are you talking? Like,
I'm reaching pretty back here, so I don't know if I'm gonna get the full story, but I remember. So there were 2 bands. Alex, fill some of this in if I leave some stuff out you're thinking about. But yeah. So like we played this. Was it an outdoor show? I think it was an outdoor show.
Yeah, in
we played
Palm City on the west side by Tampa.
Yes. It was an outdoor show. It was a really, really nice day, if I recall right. And we played the show, and it was a good show. And he actually took us in for the night, so he let us stay in his place. I think he was married. He had a wife, and he's like, yeah, we have a ferret or 2. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2, but he's like, yeah, we let it go. Like it's in our place. It just kind of roams around, but we'll keep the door shut so it doesn't like wake you. And we were sleeping on the floor at the time, so like we all had sleeping bags. We put our sleeping bags out on the floor. So our singer Nick, and this was back when we were in Dear Stardom together. Our singer Nick and who else was it, Alex? Who was he with? Was it Ryan, bass player? They were anyway. I forget who it was, but we were sleeping. Half of us were sleeping, or 3/4 of us were sleeping, and they were out partying all night. And they come in at like 3 or 4 a.m. they were pretty drunk, and there was just like this ferret that was like roaming around, and didn't it freak Nick out or something? It like we there was a ferret literally, like we were sleeping on the floor and there was a
just
ferret.
in their apartment. Like they just
Yeah.
let it run around.
And ferrets smell, so it wasn't exactly the best, thing to be like sleeping next to on the floor.
With this fucking stinky weasel trying to climb in my fucking sleeping bag. You know what I mean?
That's literally what's going on right now.
Yeah. And then this is the same couple that said in the morning, they were like, oh, like we own this restaurant downstairs, would you like some breakfast? We make the best grits and they're amazing. And you want some grits? And we're like, oh yeah, we'll get some food. How much is it? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. It's free. It's free for you. Like, you're our guest.
No, dude, the breakfast was, I remember I got chocolate chip pancakes. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
I'm gonna spin this real quick to like the same kind of theme, but instead of a scary venue, this was a venue that we showed up to and we couldn't play because of an issue. And Alex, you remember this one? I think it was in Florida. We went to like some bar, like some pub. We pull up. We were like hours early, but we were ready to load in. And we went inside to find out that the place was shutting down for the day because the urinal was overflowing. And there was water flowing out everywhere in the entire building, so they had to shut it down.
They like apparently didn't know you can like shut off water somehow. Because like we walk in, there's like inches of water. It's pouring out the doors. They're like, yeah, we can't have a show. We got a water problem. I'm like,
yeah. So I don't think we got paid for that because we didn't play. There was no show, but we had the night off because of an overflowing urinal.
So one of the tours I got to do that was very small. The starting night of the tour was at a place called Ground Zero in New Hampshire, in Suncook, New Hampshire. And as we're leaving the venue, the starting night of tour, someone was fucking ejected from their vehicle and their body was in the middle of the road in a body bag with police. And I swear on my life, you can ask the other guys in the band. We turn the van on and the first fucking song on the iPod is "You're Gonna Need a Body Bag. I'll break bones." And I'm like, this is an omen. We shouldn't go on tour. Like, what the fuck? Like, we had to do a U-turn in the middle of the street, like barely missing this person's corpse.
Oh, Jesus.
To go back the other way to get on the highway. And the police in the middle of the street were like, that's fine. Just try not to hit it. Like,
Jesus.
The fuck?
Wow. So, I'll tell half the story because the other half's not safe for Twitch. But we were part of the prank call with Broadway. At one point in time, we were in a mall, and we would go to this place that does like, how they like this place that like with airbrush T-shirts and stuff.
Oh god,
stencil designs and stuff. So we walk into this place, and they have T-shirts, but then we look behind the counter, and the whole wall has like different license plates. And we walk up to the counter, and this is Hair says this. He goes to the lady and goes,
"There's something that needs to get done." They always put me up to it. They're like, "Alex, go."
Yeah, absolutely. So
right?
He goes, "So, will you write anything on these?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "No, I mean anything."
Oh boy.
And she's like, "Yes." So Hair tells her what's her.
Like, I can't say this out loud.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write this down.
Yes.
So I write it down. I give it to her. She looks at it, puts it down, looks at it, just goes, "Okay." Oh, thank God.
So
we can't say what it is because it's not appropriate.
Not cool, but
okay.
it was in bright fluorescent pink and was on a license plate with a picture of a Shih Tzu like on the front of it, like super girly, super bright pink. Okay, so we go to Walmart next and we buy license plate locks. They make these. This is a real thing to lock your license plate onto your car so that no one will steal it. I don't know. Who knew? So while Broadway is playing their set, we go outside of the van, we attach it to the front bumper of their van, we lock it with the like thing, and we literally just take the keys and just throw them. Like, whatever. So they come out and they're like, "Oh, that's real funny, that's great." I'm like, "Where are the keys?" And we're like, "Lost them." So they're like, no, he's like, "No, seriously, we threw them away. Good luck." And so they mess with it for like 20 minutes. They're like, we'll figure this out later. Well, it turns out they leave it on for the rest of the tour. And they must have started to actually enjoy the joke and the thoughts of it, because about a year later, they ended up flipping their van on the highway. And
everyone was fine.
everyone's fine,
Thank
but they roll their
God,
van
man.
into a ditch. But there's a picture in the newspaper, and
Get the fuck out of here.
it's the front of the van in the ditch, and with the accident thing, but you can see the license plate still on the front of their van, flipped over in the ditch. And I had the biggest laugh I've had in years when I saw that picture. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" They left it on the entire time.
That's
and now it's in the Orlando Sentinel newspaper.
It was very offensive.
Whoever took the picture just must not have looked that hard, because it was. I don't know if they ever took it down or not, but they should not have been there in the first place. It was not meant for press.
Now, did you guys ever have nightmare sick stories when you were on tour? Did you ever get sick during tour? We had a guitarist and friend who got the worst case of dehydration, explosive poop, and literally told the driver, if I sneeze, I'm going to shit. You need to pull over. And literally was screaming at the top of his lungs in the passenger seat, lifting himself off the chair, and was like, pull over, and literally just dropped shorts and shot into the side of the road. And there's 18 wheelers on the side of a fucking interstate, and we had one of the kids in the way back of the van was like, "Let me out! I have the camera! Let me out! I have the camera!" It wasn't even about is he okay? Is he gonna feel better? You just want to get it on film. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean I would be the same way. We used to do that stuff all the time, man. If you were in trouble, if you were in distress, somebody had to have the camera there. That was. I
feel like that's what made us who we are today, is just those interactions or embarrassing mishaps. You're I don't give a fuck. It was with a select few people in the middle of a state I've never been to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you ever get that feeling?
I mean, and it's never gonna happen again. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Those days are listen, I'm not saying that we played with bottle rockets on the highway at 2 a.m. between two different vans on tour. That may or may not have happened. Who knew? I don't know, maybe. Will it happen again? Probably not.
Happened. And B, that band was Mile High School, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, it's a good time, man.
Explosives at each other on the highway.
Yeah.
Joyous.
We also used to use a lot of piss jugs, and we used to wing them out the van at each other and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We had so speaking of food on tour, I want to know everyone's favorite fast food place, but and also what fast food place disappointed you the most. But we did have a game that we played on tour that really would shatter your entire hopes and dreams of having a good rest of the day, especially if you were on a tight budget, and we played the sandwich punch game. So if you unwrapped your sandwich and didn't recover it after you put it down and left it open, we were free to just fucking drop a 12-6 elbow on it or punch it.
Okay.
And at the time, the McRib had just come back out. And I remember fucking hitting one so hard that it just expanded out of the sides of my hand and went everywhere like a murder scene. And it was I think it was our drummer's last $5 of tour, and I had to buy him a footlong every day after that. But it was so worth it to see his face like a kid that got jack shit on Christmas. That was no, you were bad. You get nothing.
We used to have a game. It was a dual game, depending on what season it was. It was either called Desert Storm or Whiteout. And in Desert Storm, if it was the summertime, you roll the windows up and turn the AC off and turn the heat on. And the first person to complain has to drive the rest of the way.
Oh, fuck that.
Whiteout is the reverse.
Work at Guantanamo Bay?
The Whiteout's the reverse, where you roll the windows down in the wintertime and turn the AC on, and whoever bitches has to drive.
Yeah.
It solves some arguments.
Yeah.
He jokes. Oh, is that Jay in the background?
Jay?
Yes, it is.
What's up, man?
Fuck, get over here.
Sorry, my wife is very pregnant, and she was having contractions, but they were very far apart, so we were just waiting to make sure. before I drove an hour away from home. We're cool now.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on being a soon-to-be dad.
Thanks,
I mean, he's
man.
already a dad. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even see. I
No
don't
big
think.
deal.
I still think of everyone as being like just this person. That's everyone says that. They're like, I always forget I'm married, or I always forget I have kids.
He identifies as a stepdad, though. Just so
Yeah.
Just to keep the expectations low.
Man, the ball busting amongst this group is great. Jesus.
I mean, what's
I
wrong
think
with
that's what helps our songwriting.
You really feel the pain come out in the songwriting process.
I have
That's
to
how
say
we-
though,
yeah.
like the music you guys have really fun. That stuff slaps.
Thanks,
And
man. Appreciate
it's
it.
not to blow smoke up your ass, and not because I'm into.
No, we need
I
that
would've-
though at our advanced age. We need someone to tell us we're awesome. So
Well,
keep
you
going.
guys,
We're
you
cool with
guys
it.
do need some compliments because at the same time, you guys started to break out, and then the pandemic hit, and you got Godzilla.
Yeah,
fucked.
we played our very first. So our record came out January 1st of 2020.
Yep.
We played our first show in February. We had a bunch of stuff like we are gonna play some other shows lined up. We had some stuff lined up, and then boom, all gone. Yeah, up in smoke. So you're right. It was a bummer. I will say we had a lot of big plans, and then you know what though, we'll ramp it back up. Persevere. Right, we'll overcome. I think this is going to be for a lot of musicians and a lot of bands this past year. The ones whose hearts that truly weren't in it, that moved on, did other stuff, aren't gonna come back to it. You know what? Get out of here. I know it's tough. Listen, I'm not saying it's not been hard times out there. Hard times. Hard times, daddy. Hard times out there, daddy. But listen, you gotta stick with it. You know what I mean?
I 100%. I love to see people push past their limitations or get rid of that attitude. Like I like someone like Joe Rogan says, you kill your inner bitch, where you're like, I need to do what I need to do. So like seeing you guys come out with this music and it really resonating with New England as a whole. I mean, so Jay, you weren't here for this, but New England has really fucking appreciated the fact that With Abandon is around right now. And it's because a lot of those songs give us the same feeling that your old band gave, The Surrender. So it's like there's that raw emotion, there's that rock attitude, there's that it's very dynamic, and that it's not every song is the same. You can listen to some bands nowadays and you're like, oh, that's this fucking artist, because they use the same auto tune and the same pedal loop, same fucking bar chords. Great, awesome. They know what they're doing. That's their algorithm. But I do like to see that push past that and give that raw energy and emotion. And to hear that, Pat, correct?
What?
That had the 10-year riff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a 10-year riff.
That has been a freaking long time.
Yeah, see, so you had a 10-year riff that stewed in your brain, and that 10-year riff didn't go away. It became something new. So, like, a lot of you had these ideas and then bringing them together. This is why I said supergroup, and Pat fucking giggled at the start of this. But, like, it is, I feel, a supergroup. You were all in different bands, and now you're all together, and the sound that you create is very fucking.
I appreciate that, man. I also, that was one of the things that drew me to the band initially when I heard their first couple demos, is how vastly different the songs were. And that was one of the things that I think that Just Surrender did well when we was, giving a little bit of variety. We just wanted to write songs we liked. Eventually we got into a routine and we had a sound and we kind of got stuck in pigeonholed in certain, elements of our music. But this was kind of like, you know what, let's just do whatever we want.
Yeah.
If someone brings a song to the table and we all are into it, let's do it. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just, we want to make the best music we can, and we want to enjoy what we play. And that was really it.
So Jay, for
I
you,
appreciate you
lyrically,
noticing.
is it the same thing as when you were writing for Just Surrender? Is it the same thought process, or is it a more mature mind dwelling on topics that are different in your current time? I ask a lot of obscure fucking stuff. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I think it's the same process. It's more so just I think I've grown as a person, and I'm writing about different topics. I think that the things that mainly impacted me when I was younger were my relationships with people. And it's still, most of our songs are about relationships, but different types of relationships. Like friends that we've lost, or other relationships, or being married and dealing with the turmoils of being in a long-term relationship and the ups and downs of that, as opposed to just young heartbreak. I think I don't know. I think it's much the same, but it's just also I'm older and more mature, and hopefully it's better. Hopefully it's getting better. 12 years later.
Yeah, it's an evolution, but I do think you guys are headed in the right. I really do believe that this is the sound that people hear. We get enough of the fucking mumble rap trap music. I mean, I like hip hop.
That's what our next track is, bro. What are you doing? You blowing our spot up.
Well,
What we're going for.
looks like Homeboy is fucking out of the group now. So I like a lot of hip hop and stuff like that, but like nothing's really tickled my fancy like someone like Logic or MF Doom. And you know what I mean? Like when it comes to new music in this genre, you guys kind of struck my fancy in a way that Narrowcast has struck my fancy. That it's an evolution of a band that had other parts to it and other genres, but now that they're older and more mature, it's this sound that you're like, I can fuck with that. I can resonate with that because I know what they went through in their lifetime or something similar. And now we're kind of in the same spot. We're adults now. We have different stages of our lives. Some of us are dead. Some of us are married. Some of us are not. Some of us are in our life. Some of us are doing a job we fucking hate and we're trying to find an escape. I like how you just started laughing at that. But it's like, everybody wants to be able to be their own boss, and I really truly believe in this world it's very possible, but there's not enough people fighting for it or vying for it, or a lot of people have ADD nowadays, and I don't mean in the sense that you're diagnosed with it. I mean that if it doesn't catch your fancy in the first 10 seconds, you're like that fucking dog in Up where you're like, whirl. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to, if it doesn't catch you in the first 10 seconds, you're going to have a soft dick the rest of the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It sucks. It's funny if you look at the evolution of even like rock music and like the song lengths of songs now.
Yes.
Like even like when we were writing songs like in high school and stuff, man, like 4 minutes was the rule. If your song's like around 4 minutes, you're good. Now, if you're over like 3:15, it's like this song's getting kind of long, bro. You're right, man. Things gotta hit harder and faster now than they used to.
The original cut of that Third Eye Blind song, that big single, it's like almost 5 minutes long.
Yep.
Who's got that kind of time, bro?
And people listen to podcasts and stuff nowadays, but you don't hear long musical ballads.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Wait,
yeah.
Just a few weeks, bro. We got it. No, I'm kidding.
So,
about that is that back in the 50s and 60s, songs were 2 minutes long. It was the same mentality as today. Songs were really short. Sure. It was make your point now. And we did not have the ability to skip. Actually, we had so many fewer choices. I was a young boy back in the 50s. Yeah, But I find that interesting because it's not to say that it's not possible for the longer form to come back. I mean, it seems less likely now, for sure, because of the technology. It's so easy to be like, I always think about the Death Cab song from their album in 2008, Narrow Stairs.
Okay.
That single was 8 minutes long, and it's a perfect example of a song that, and I really like Ben Gibbard, and I really like Death Cab. That song sucks, and the intro sucks. There's no reason for it to be long. That boring. Like,
I used to think I was a negative guy, and then I met Pat.
The radio edit's good. The radio edit is good.
That's exactly right.
Once they cut the 2 minutes off.
That's exactly right. The intro is so unnecessary. There are times when it could be necessary, and that's the thing that gets me is that like now we're in the mentality of like make your point really fast. The vocals need to come in like within like 15 seconds, and like there's a good reason for that, and the technology is the good reason for that. I mean, you don't want to get skipped on a playlist or something. It's legit. It's a legit concern. But at the same time, it's like the value that these longer songs had that initially
they had value, and then it got turned into this stupid thing where bands started playing 7-minute songs when there was just no reason for it. Like, you could have made your point in 3.5 minutes, you know? I hope that comes back to some extent, you know, like we kind of recalibrate in the middle someplace, but yeah, the reality now is like, make your point fast. And
Well, that's why we don't write intros.
we don't write intros, right?
So-
Very
You know what I would actually like to see, and
I think I want to do the chorus first, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
you know what I would like to see is actually like something that like actually Jay, you guys did, and a lot of pop punk bands did, is interludes in between songs, where it was like you took the last maybe couple measures of a song and it morphed into this fucking jam band session that morphed into the next song. And especially live, it was something that I really enjoyed because I'm not one. I don't know if this makes me sound real cunty. It's okay if it does. But I'm not one that really likes when people start talking a lot in between songs because I feel like it ruins the vibe. So as soon as that happens, my level of serotonin just starts fucking dwindling down really quickly at a show.
Yeah.
What was
That's
that?
part of what we're getting at is that like the mentality behind that sort of thing, which was like a reaction to reality, was don't give people 45 seconds to be bored, to
Right.
go back to the bar or to go to the bathroom, like
Yep.
you know, and that was a legitimate response to that whole thing, like keep people's entertainment the whole time. And you can see a lot of bands, and then in other media as well, where that was done successfully and people benefited from it. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But my whole point is that the flip side is like, for me, the flip side is I always think about this, like the album. You know, we talked about this before. Like there are so many albums where the single, of course, is the first song or the third song or something. And then by the time you get to song number 8, you're like, this would never be a single, ever. And rightfully so. But there's like something to that at the same time where it's like, well, that's where something different fits. Something that maybe is quieter, something that's maybe heavier, something that's weird. You know, something where you know, it's like maybe even a instrumental song or something. Like, I feel like we're losing something when we don't have room for that anymore. And I feel like today we're sort of in a place where we don't have room for that
Because
anymore.
you only get one, you know, you listen to the whole record, right? Who does that?
Nobody does that anymore. Yeah. I mean, not nobody. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, but yeah, it's sort of, to me, it sort of sucks that's sort of being lost now, you know? Because
Yeah,
it's the kind of thing too, where it's like it takes 20 listens to get to appreciating something weirder like that, right?
Yes.
Where you might hear something for the first time, it's track number 1 and it hits you right away, and that's great. But yeah, for a song that's deeper and doesn't really fit with the whole like everything needs to get your attention right away and like draw you in right away. It's, you know, and I don't know, it's reality, but it sort of sucks too.
I think what's important and what's going to be happening more over the next couple of years is we're going to need to, I'm speaking just for our band, we're going to need to kind of find a middle ground between that.
Right.
We understand that we're going to need to put out songs to keep people interested, and we don't have time to wait in between while we write a whole record. Especially we have lives, it takes us a long time to write these songs, and we put a lot of care into them. So maybe the idea is put out a song or two to keep people interested while we're working on the record, and we save a few, we squirrel a few away that are more record songs than singles. And then when we get a batch of songs together, we can finally put out a record. But, you know, maybe we just save those for our fans and for us, you know. I don't know. But
I think that's a
probably
great
gonna be-
fucking
that's
idea.
probably gonna be our thing.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Hey, so we're it's around 9:00 now, so I think.
Yep,
we're
exactly. I was just actually going to wrap it up so that you guys can start practicing and everything like that. So, is there anything you want to plug before we get off of here?
Yes. Eternal Boys new record just came out on Friday. Our good friend Chris Vidami, who's
That Eternal Boys?
Eternal Boy, yeah. Chris Bedandy's the producer, mixer. He mixed our record Keepsakes. This is his newest record that he just mixed and produced that came out. It's fantastic. So I want to make sure that we're actually missing their live stream. They're doing a live stream for the record tonight. But I figured, everyone check it out. Really good stuff.
So I got a baby dropping in 2 weeks.
Baby drop.
I wish you the best of luck with that because that is a big responsibility. I understand.
I'll
So
tag you guys in it. Maybe we'll do a live from the
subscribe to name the baby, like one of those things.
If I get 400 likes, I name the baby.
I'll name the baby Facebook.
So thank you very much, guys, for everything. I really look forward to more from you guys. Please keep me in the loop because, like I had said, and Jay, you didn't hear part of this, but I want people to come to New Hampshire. If I can help in any way, shape, or form, I want to be that person that's. I would love to be able to put on a beer and music festival, and if you guys, if everything's back to normal, everything's safe, and you guys have the time, I would love for you guys to come up and play.
All that, man. Yeah, just let us know.
Awesome. So thank you all to With Abandon, and thank you everyone that came in tonight. And I hope you guys have a great jam session and have a great rest of the night, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Awesome. And this has been With Abandon. Have a great night, everybody.